Good evening. I'll be right back, he says. That last video was 3 months ago. But, to my credit, a lot has happened in those 3 months. Put plainly, this project is a project that was never going to be done super quick, although I am working through it as quick as possible. As soon as I finished that last video, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get to work on the lights, and I was working on the scratch plate and everything else, and it was all going fine. Like, it was going absolutely fine. And then it was just a series of events that happened. So the first thing that happened was that the scratch plate, which was finished, broke, which I was none too happy about. So I've got to remake that. But also, at the same time, I blew out my left shoulder. And then I started working on that again and started getting back into, like the movement back into it and everything else. And as soon as I was like comfortable with it again, I blew up my right shoulder. And as somebody who's staring down the barrel of 40, I need to start looking after myself. So I basically took a bit of a break, changed my whole workout routine just to sort of like get movement back in both arms. And, touch wood, at the moment, I'm feeling pretty good. Like, I actually feel pretty good. That's not to say that while I've been away from like making these videos that I haven't been working on it. I have actually, because of the angle and it's like such a bulky shape and I can't really put it in clamps. It's like, it means like long periods of hunching over or being, being in awkward positions, that it was quite painful. But I have actually been working on this Flying V, and not only are the lights finished and working, I also designed and built a smoke machine, which is working. And I also designed and built a flame launcher, which is also working. So all the elements are in. And I've managed to do that basically just while I've been working and, trying to get myself back in shape. Anyway, that aside, everything works. But I've also taken the little bit of extra time that I've had to work on a few things. So I'm quickly going to run you through where we are now. Now, even this isn't kind of like a catch-up video. This is actually a build video. And the reason that, again, it's taken this long is that the next step, the step that I'm doing now. So I said in my last video that the lights would be the next step. And they kind of are, but everything works. Like, the lights work, everything works. However, there was a big step that is one of, other than the initial outlay for the wood, is probably the most expensive part, and that is this. Now, these, having never created or painted a guitar before, but it is again one of the things that I've always wanted to do. I knew the nitrocellulose aerosol paint was expensive. Relatively speaking, Hackney Lullaby. Relatively speaking, it's not the most expensive part of the guitar. However, as far as paint goes, yes, this delivered is about £17 a can, and according to various reviews on the internet, you may need more than one can. I needed 3 cans. Like, I needed a primer, which is what this is. This is the white primer. I needed Arctic white paint, and I needed a clear gloss. So that's just 3 cans, and I might need more. You know what I mean? So it's expensive, and like I say, the step, I can't get this wrong. So again, that explains as well as the shoulders and the scratch plate and everything else, the bit of a gap. But we are here. This is happening tonight. This is getting done now. I'm quickly gonna put this, the guitar's here beside me. What I'm gonna do is put the guitar down on, I don't know, like a desk or something, and quickly show you what else I've been working on. A few of the aesthetics. What you won't be able to see is that the wood has been filled and has been sanded. This wood is glass smooth. There are no, like, you can't feel the wood grain, nothing. It is absolutely 100% smooth. So at least on the parts that are going to be painted. To recap, the front is going to be a complete piece of Perspex that has been sort of like sanded, like tapered at the edges, but it will be a complete piece of Perspex because it's easier to wipe down with the blood. Think of a toddler's high chair. You know, like you have the plastic trays for the high chair. If that was made of like wood with grain or, you know, like a natural product, it would stain. But they're all made of plastic, white plastic, which you can just wipe clean. So that's why. So the whole front's going to be underneath that sheet of Perspex. So that doesn't need to be sanded as well as the rest. The back, the neck, the back of the headstock, all absolutely filled and glass smooth. So what I'm going to do is quickly put this on a desk and then just quickly run you over the parts. Also added a few tiny little details in the last week. Aesthetic stuff with the fret markers. So I'm going to show you that as well. Okay, and this is the last time this guitar will hopefully look like this. The next time we see this, it should be nice and white. Now, there are some obvious things here, which I'm going to run through. This panel, which I believe you've seen before, this is going to come out. This is the white panel on the side. This is just a clear piece of Perspex. That's going to come out. Obviously, the syringe is going to come out. This here I have designed, and I will go into it more when I focus up. There we go. When I talk about the lights, this switch here, this rotary switch, which goes all the way around, and then all the way back to the click position. Yep. This material here is actually glow in the dark. So this actually glows blue in the dark. Because, well, you'll find out. So yeah, I'll get back to that switch when I do the lights. Also, it's a bit scrappy looking at the minute, but each one of the fret markers I have removed and replaced with glow-in-the-dark little squares. The headstock, again, is finished. This is the remnants of the plastic on the top, which I've scrapped and redoing. This will all become very, very clear. Again, it doesn't look a lot now, but trust me, it will make sense in time. And this white thing out the end, what that is, that's just a stopper. The reason that the white stick is there is so that I've got something to pull it out with because I don't have any fingernails. So the white stick is just there so I can get that plug in the end so paint doesn't go in the launching tube. So let me just flip this thing very, very carefully. Flip it over. So on the back, we have, again, this is all going to be white. This is what I am painting right now. I'm going to cover up these little rivets, I think. I'm not sure. I might cover them up with like parcel tape or something. I'm not sure yet. But yes, all of this, white. All down here, white. This is the little vent that I cut out for the smoke machine. White. These are where the two black switches go. I have actually ordered white switches, but it's an AliExpress thing, so next year maybe, I don't know. This, again, glass smooth. This button here, now, this is a tiny little arcade button, you know, that you get on the arcade machines. I found out they do mini ones, so I made this piece of Perspex here to mimic the heel, and then I've cut a little square into it, and it's got a little arcade button there, little clicky arcade button. The wire, I cut a skunk stripe out the back, and you can just see the wire where I've sanded it down. That skunk stripe goes all the way there, and the wire actually comes out there where the truss rod is. So this button is for the flame launcher or the fire launcher when you press that. This stuff you can see here that looks like, I don't know, like mold or something, that's actually wood filler. So I went to Wilco's and bought a load of wood filler. So obviously where the join is here, where the join is to here, it's really hard to say, but you can't appreciate it. Like, that wood filler really does make all of this like super silky smooth. Any little dings or, you know, any little bits that I've knocked on the skirting board and just like dug a hole into it, it is all absolutely smooth. So, as far as tonight goes, everything you see here, from the very tip of the headstock all the way down to the feet down here, this is all getting painted white. So I'm going to take some blue painter's tape and a little bit of parcel tape, and I'm going to cover up the binding because I want to keep the binding sort of like that creamy colour. So I'm going to cover up the binding, obviously cover up the fret markers, and I've got to find a way of covering up this button so I don't paint it. And because I've cut the hole exactly the right shape, I'm just going to have to find something to go around that. But then all the wood you can see here is going to be, as far as today goes, covered in the primer, and then hopefully covered in the Arctic White tomorrow. As far as the front goes, it will just creep over. So like this section here, over this trench, will be Arctic White. Bit like a sunburst kind of finish, so just inside on all of it will be white, but it doesn't matter because this is all going to be covered up anyway. One other thing that I should very quickly mention as well is this. Now this was the scratch plate that was that came with the body that I bought, and I was never going to have a scratch plate, or never going to use that scratch plate anyway, so I just threw it, you know, to one side and didn't care about it. But as far as painting goes, and again, I've never painted a guitar before, but I was worried that if I just used... I needed to have the entire back clear, and I needed it to hang. So how do you do that? So what I did was I took the scratch plate, cut the bottoms off the scratch plate, cut 2 little notches in the bottom pickup, you know, hole, and then got 2 little picture hooks and screwed those. They're actually screwed with tiny little screws inside, and these are clothing hooks that you can hang on doors, that you can buy them from the pound shop. Like, they're pretty cheap. And what I've done is I'm going to thread this through here, and that sits in there. And if I use 2 and hang it, you know, eventually I'm going to run this down to the basement and start spraying it down there. But if I can put these 2 into the tuning holes, or the holes for the tuning pegs, it will hang nicely on there. And because there's 2 and they're locked into these little notches, if I need to add some more paint on one side, it won't spin. Like the force of the paint won't like spin it round. So it should, this little rig that I've sort of like very quickly built here, should keep the guitar nice and still while I paint it. But I guess we're going to find out. Okay, so I am now in the basement and ready to get started with the, at least the primer. I've got this clothes rack, and I'll show you the little rig that I've built. So the rig itself goes around the clothes rack, and then those 2 picture hooks go into those first 2 fret pegs and just hold it really, really nice and stable. I put down, you know, a splash sheet just in case. Now, with the fretboard and the fret markers, I've used like parcel tape, packing tape, to get a nice clean line down the side. I learned that from doing the Raspberry Pis and obviously the PlayStation stencils. And then the front, I've just got a little bit more painter's tape on there. This painter's tape is basically to control the packing tape, because packing tape, the one thing it really, really, really loves sticking to is itself. So that is just to control that. Anyway, I think that we are ready to start. Now, obviously, because I'm at work, I'm masked up all the time anyway. So, you know, masks on, gloves on. Let's get started. Okay, well, I'm out of primer. So I reckon if I'm spraying it fairly conservatively and carefully, I can get 2 coats and then a little bit extra for some touch-ups if I make any mistakes. But essentially the best part are 2 coats out of 1 can. Because I'm only doing the back, I'm not doing any of the front. That said, it's by no means, like I said before, the worst priming job I've ever done, but it certainly ain't the best. So it served as a good practice run for tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's the night. I'm going to do 2 coats of Arctic White, and then a coat of gloss, probably 2 coats of gloss. So we'll see. But yeah, that's it for tonight. I'm going to let it sit for 24 hours. And then around about 3 a.m. tomorrow, hopefully, I'm going to go on my coffee break. It's it. Fingers crossed. Okay, and we are all done. The paint is now dry, and even though the light in here is very yellow, the guitar itself and the paint is really nice Arctic white with this beautiful subtle wood grain that hopefully over time, as the nitro paint deteriorates, will look super vintaged and super nice, and you'll see that lovely mahogany coming through the back. As you can tell, I have begun to repopulate the guitar, so the smoke machine is in, which we'll get to later. Strap peg here, screwdriver strap peg here, the input jack down here. We have the smoke machine grill, also white over here. The holes, the wires hanging out, I am waiting for the white switches to come in. I might just put the black ones in for now. And over here, the light toggle and the side panel for the syringe. So yeah, and also the machine heads are in. Cleaned up the side, so it's got a nice cream binding with the glow-in-the-dark inlays and cream binding down the other side of the fretboard. So yeah, I am super duper happy with the way this has come out. It is really much better than I expected. I would have loved to have got the stencil up there, but it wasn't going to happen. I would never get the fidelity with painter's tape. I really needed nice clean lines and very sort of small intricate things, which I could only get with parcel tape. But I'm going to put a transfer or a sticker or something up there. But yeah, I am super happy with the way that's come out. So what next? Well, I know I said I would do it, 3 months ago, but how about next we check out these lights? All right, cool. Peace.